Hi everyone, it's Phil here from Ashland Leather, and yesterday I got a really great comment from Lou Blanc on the Natural Shell Cordovan video, and he was wondering what the difference between the natural Chromexcel and the Dublin leather were. So I gave him a response and I said, the Dublin is considerably more grainy in texture compared to the polished down Chromexcel. The Dublin also has a waxy feel when the Chromexcel is a little bit more oily and greasy, and that's because of the nourishing hot stuffing blend that is used on all the Chromexcel leather. And I also find the Dublin to be a little bit more dense, which is why I prefer it for wallets. And both products have a nice break to them, and they should not have any large wrinkling or piping going on. Sometimes more loose sections of the hides in Chromexcel tend to pipe a little bit, and a crafter that's inexperienced with the Chromexcel might cut that into a product which would not give you a great result. So at Ashland here, we don't cut any of that loose stuff. Both the Chromexcel and Dublin leather are equally durable, but the lighter colors of Dublin develop a bit more of a dramatic patina, where the Chromexcel doesn't tend to age as dramatically as the Dublin. And the Chromexcel has a unique finish system that includes an adhesion binder coat as well as a top coat. So I wanted to show you in person here the two different leathers. So this is a natural Chromexcel Johnny the Fox, and I also have this English tan Dublin Tony the Ant. So I wanted to give you a better detailed explanation of what I'm talking about here. So when I was talking about grain character, I was talking about the actual sort of raised peaks and valleys of the grain of the animal. So when I say grain, that's sort of like where the hair was of the animal. If you look very closely at the leather, you can see little holes, and that's what we call the grain. You can see it a little bit more apparently on the Dublin when you compare it to the Chromexcel. And the Chromexcel has been polished down, so it's very much a smoother leather with much less pronounced grain character. And then I went on to talk about feel, and the feel of the leather is a really underappreciated thing, I think, by most people. It's something that people don't really think about, the feel when they feel the leather, or when they're shopping for something. They don't really, because you can't really feel it online. But let me describe the difference in feel here. The Dublin has a wax finish, so it's a little bit stickier. It has more of like a wax feel. It's not sticky in like a glue sort of way. It just has a little bit more grab to it, again, because of that wax layer on the surface, where the Chromexcel is much more silky and rich feeling. And that's because this leather is nearly half greases, waxes, and oils. So the Chromexcel is much more rich of a feel. They're both nice. It's just a different feel. So also in that comment, I was replying about the density. And the density is a little bit hard to describe. I feel like the Dublin leather has a bit more of a compact feel to it. It's like the fibers of the leather are much more tightly bound, where on the Chromexcel, it depends on where you cut from in the side, but the Chromexcel tends to be a little bit more open, especially depending on where you cut it. In the pockets and the bellies of the side, the Chromexcel tends to be much less tight, but the piece here I have is straight from the backbone, so this is actually a little bit more dense than most Chromexcel pieces. And because the Dublin is a little bit more dense, it just has a little bit more of a bite to it as far as the density. That's why I prefer it for wallets. I think it has just a little bit nicer of a stand. So when I put this wallet on the table, it stands up very straight. And sometimes the Chromexcel is a little bit drapier. It's just a little softer, a little bit less dense, and might not give you as much stand. We tend to pick very exceptional pieces of Chromexcel, so all the stuff we do tends to be very nice. But if you're a leather crafter, you might want to be aware that some of the Chromexcel can be a little bit softer and drapier, a little bit less dense. And both the Dublin, which this is a black Dublin Johnny the Fox here, both the Dublin and the Chromexcel are equally durable. But I don't find that they develop the same sort of patina. When the Dublin is worn, the veg characteristics of this leather tend to come out in a more dramatic fashion than in the combination tanned Chromexcel leather. And people that are familiar with leather will know that all vegetable tan leathers tend to age very nicely, and they develop more of a sheen on the surface. I call it a luster, and the luster just deepens over time. On non-veg leathers, that luster doesn't tend to develop very much at all. However, the Chromexcel is a chrome tan leather with a vegetable retannage. So there is some veg characteristics in there, like I mentioned, the aging, but it will be less dramatic than on the Dublin. Now, the reason I brought out the black Dublin here is the patina will develop on this, but you won't see the color change. And that's just because it's so dark to begin with. On a color like the English tan, in my hand here, this is an English tan Dublin Tony the Ant. The English tan does darken quite a bit, and that's because of the veg characteristics in it. But on the Chromexcel leathers, they're all sort of start off as an earth tone. So I found a Chromexcel swatch book that I had here. This one looks to be from 2018. But if you pan through these or just skim through them, you'll notice that they're all roughly earth tones. You don't tend to get very many bright tones out of the Chromexcel. And again, that's because there's just so much wax and oil and grease in there, along with it being a combination tanned veg tan leather. Those two factors tend to make them all a little bit darker and less vibrant. You could say a little bit more muddy in color. Whereas on the Dublin, you get these incredible bright, vibrant shades a little bit more easily. Like on this Cobalt blue Dublin, you can see right down the spine there, it's sort of that aqua blue shade. That sort of color is very tough to get on a leather that is 50% grease and wax. So the durability of these two leathers should not really be a concern. They're both going to last you a long time. They're just going to age slightly different. And I wanted to talk one more thing about the finish system going on. So this is a piece of natural Chromexcel. This is actually a belt weight piece. We're starting to work up some belts again. But the Chromexcel is finished using a finish system, whereas on the Dublin leather, this does not have a finish system at all. It's just finished with wax. And it's sort of like finishing a piece of wood. So on this leather, we put down a stain coat that can be any color, perhaps any color from this swatch book. And then we add a binder coat. And the binder coat is there to hold on the top coat and sort of seal it up and make it a little bit stronger. So it's sort of a sandwich of different layers of finish. It's a stain, an adhesion binder, and then a top coat. And that's exactly what is going on the Chromexcel. So there's a little bit more of a top coat feel to it, a little bit silky, but you're also feeling a lot of the waxes that are tanned into the leather. Now, to contrast that with the Dublin, this does not have a finish system. This has a stain coat and then a wax coat, and there's no tops, there's no binders, nothing like that. So what you really end up feeling is a lot of the wax on the surface of this leather, and it also gives you that really interesting burst effect. To be quite honest, it's very similar to a pull-up effect, but just the thing that's happening is different, where the burst effect, the wax is being displaced, and on the pull-up effect, it's more of the greases that are tanned into the leather. They're coming from underneath that are happening. This is more of a surface effect. So I hope that helps a little bit to explain some of the difference between the Chromexcel and the Dublin. Both of them are very nice. And again, one of the main reasons I started making all these wallets is just there's so many different leathers in the world. These are just two of them. And there's many incredible leathers in the world. And they're all just a little bit different. So part of the reason I'm doing this channel is to try to help demystify a little bit of the mystery that's going on in different types of leather. All right, and moving along here today, I wanted to get into some of the stuff that we're shipping out. But first, I need to give you a notice on one of our more popular styles and colors that are coming back into stock. And it's really appropriate because I just did that little explanation on the Dublin. So right now, we've got a couple more English tan Dublin Tony the Ants available. These tend to sell out pretty quickly, and if you're interested in one of these and you've been waiting for them to come back, now's your chance. There's a little bit of a range of color on the English tan Dublin that we have currently. One is a little bit more flatter in color. It's a little bit more yellow, and that's this one right here. It's very nice. But there's also this orangey variant, and this is also very nice. I think I have more of the orange versions than the more yellow versions. So if you're looking to pick up one, you can just leave a order comment of which version you like, the more orange one here or the more yellowy sort of English tan here. Okay, and we have a couple more Dublin wallets shipping out today. These are the Johnny the Fox in black Dublin, and I wanted to bring out the two that have been ordered yesterday because I wanted to show a little bit of the variation of the natural grain character, how much you can expect to see. Both of these have a bit of these wrinkles in them, and I'm not sure how well this will translate in the video, but you can see that it sort of ranges. Like the one on the right has a little bit more of those valleys and peaks, where on the left It's a little bit flatter, but you do see some of that subtle character from underneath. And on the inside of both of these wallets, we have that custom black horsehide latigo that's made for us. This was made specifically for us by Horween to keep the wallet as thin as possible, but also make it very durable and have some good amount of aging characteristics as well, because it's a combination latigo tannage. Up next here, this has been a really popular wallet the last few days. This is the Cobalt Blue Dublin Fat Herbie. And I'm a really big fan of these. I'm glad that you guys are enjoying this, and I really appreciate you supporting us by picking up these wallets. The Cobalt Blue Dublin is a really special color because it has this interesting combination of a dark navy sort of surface color and then this very interesting aqua blue color coming from underneath. And when both of those are combined, it makes for a really nice depth of color on this particular wallet. So I'm so glad that you're able to pick this one up, and thank you again for supporting us. Now, this is a wallet that was not actually ordered, and in fact, we have not finished the edges on it yet, but this was the natural Chromexcel I showed in the video earlier. I wanted to give you a little bit of a better look at what to expect from the natural Chromexcel. It has that really incredible, rich, waxy, and oily feel. It has a very subtle sheen to it. It's not mirror-like like the shell cordovan, but it is bright. And then you have that really characteristic pull-up effect down the spine there. Chromexcel is a fantastic leather. These days I've actually been preferring the Dublin for the wallets, but maybe that's just because it's novel. But both of them are great choices. I think it might end up coming down to just a color choice for you. And I actually have one more Chromexcel item to show you today. This is our Valet tray in black Chromexcel. I really like these Valet trays, and a lot of people have been picking these up too recently. In the black in particular, I really like that it's all stealthed out. It's black Chromexcel on the outside. It's actually mill dyed, so the cross section of the leather is also black. And then we finished the wrong side of the leather, the sort of unintended flesh side of the Chromexcel, also with black. So this is blacked out, and I think with the antique brass snaps that are on here, it makes for a really cool looking Valet tray. And we use these Valet trays all over the place. We use them in the workshop to keep ourselves organized with all sorts of different tools. And then I use it at home, right at my front door. When I come in the door, I just empty out my keys and my phone and my wallet, and it just keeps everything in one spot. Otherwise, I would just lose everything. So I'm a big fan of the Valet trays. There's a few left of these in black. I believe there's also some color 8 Chromexcel and natural Chromexcel. And if you're a shell cordovan fan, there are only, I believe, 2 black and maybe 1 color 8 Valet tray left. So if you're looking to get a Valet tray in shell, you might not want to wait too long on that. I don't know when we'll be able to get more leather for the shell Valets. And now we're on to some shell cordovan. This is a Tony the Ant in the very beautiful intense blue shell cordovan. I had been comparing this color now to the cobalt blue, and it is very similar. I would say that the intense blue is a little darker and obviously much more of a mirror shine to it because it is cordovan. That's sort of the main characteristic of cordovan, is the mirror-like shine to it. But this is just a great color. I've always been a really big fan of blues, especially in leathers. And, you know, even before I started working at a tannery, I didn't know you could make blue leather. I wouldn't have thought that you could make anything other than like a brown leather color. So it is possible to do, and it turns out very nice. So again, this Tony the Ant in intense blue is going to a really special person. Up next here, it looks like somebody's picked up another one of these garnet shell cordovan Johnny the Foxes. And I keep saying it, and it's true. Every time I pick up this garnet shell, this is just a really special piece of garnet shell cordovan. It's just very rich, very shiny, has a great feel to it. These are very nice. It actually is, I think the black with the garnet is very neat. I like how this black sort of makes the red a little more tame on the outside, that garnet color. It's a very beautiful Johnny the Fox. I think there's a few of these left as well. And last up today, I really wanted to show you this color number 4 Johnny the Fox. For about 10 years, for a decade, the color number 4 was my favorite shell cordovan color. I still love it, but it's sort of recently been replaced with amaretto for me, and that's just because I've been digging a little bit of a lighter shade. I've been into the naturals and amaretto recently, but color 4 is really great. This is a beautiful medium brown shade and just has subtle hints of red coming from the underside. In fact, if you want to compare it to the garnet here, I would say that the color 4 is roughly twice as dark as the garnet. And then the next succession for this would be color 8. So if you were to compare all three, so the range of color here would go garnet, and then if you double the darkness of garnet, you get color 4. And if you double the darkness of the color 4, it would come more towards a color 8. So that's sort of a nice range of colors there. But either way, I've always been a big fan of this color 4. This was actually one of the first popularized colors of shell cordovan by Horween and Florsheim back in the early 1900s. And it hasn't changed since then. So I hope you learned some stuff today with the Chromexcel and the Dublin comparison. I always like talking about this stuff, and I love answering your questions. So if you guys have any other questions, I'd be happy to make you a little personalized video like this. But until then, I hope you have a good day and take care.